on X, which captured this moment. And Breanna Stewart is talking about that, among other things.
For me, it's like this is the first time we're in a revenue shared model. So before it was like we had like a hard cap and we had a structure and you could have 220 max and everything else kind of trickled down. Now we're going to like really blow that out of the water, which is incredible.
That admission right there, that's the most candid statement any player has made publicly during this CBA standoff. Breanna Stewart just said out loud what everyone has been thinking, but no one had the courage to voice. The reality is clear. Only the top 10, maybe 15 players could afford to sit out the 2025 WNBA season. Everyone else, they need that paycheck desperately. And yet, despite knowing this, despite understanding that her decision affects women without her endorsement deals or her unmatched salary, Breanna is still prepared to strike. Which brings us to the tough question nobody wants to ask. Is this negotiation really about fairness for all players, or is it about what the elite tier wants?
We've also talked about the conflict of interest, which really does figure into all of this. You have a Breanna Stewart and a Napheesa Collier who own a different league, yet they're the ones negotiating there, particularly Napheesa Collier. She's the one who's been out there. She's been talking a whole lot. And meanwhile, they're okay because they have a whole different league. And then Project B came along, and then Project B would be at the same time as a rival. So not quite sure how that's all going to work out. It's just a very convoluted type mess.
Hypothetical. Breanna Stewart and Napheesa Collier own Unrivaled, a competing 3-on-3 league that just finished its first season. And yet, they're sitting at the WNBA negotiating table while running a rival basketball operation at the same time. Now, add Project B, an international league about to launch, and it gets even stickier. The loudest voices pushing for a strike? They're also the ones with the deepest financial safety nets. They have ownership stakes, endorsements, and options. Meanwhile, the majority of WNBA players? They've got rent due in April and no backup plan if the season is delayed.
Like personally as WNBA players, it's like, well, we've signed however many CBA deals before, and we just don't want to get gypped. We don't want to feel like we're signing something and we're actually getting like screwed because now we know how much you need us. We see the valuations between all the teams and all the things and the expansion fees, and it's like, no, there's a lot of money behind this, so like don't forget to pay us too. So it's just really a back and forth battle.
Would you say y'all are prepared not to play this season? I know you want to, but would you say you're prepared not to play?
We've approved the strike authorization vote, which means that we're able to formally lock out whenever we want because we have majority of the players' votes behind.
Let's break down what's actually on the table, because this is where Stewart's claim of being gypped starts to fall apart. The leaked proposal from last week reveals that the WNBA is offering a revenue-sharing model for the first time in league history. We're talking about moving past the old hard cap, where maximum contracts topped out at just $220,000. Under this new plan, players' salaries would grow directly with league revenue. The more money the WNBA makes, the more money the players make. That's not being cheated. It's literally exactly what players have been asking for since day one. Now, here's where it gets tricky. Stewart points out the expansion fees and team valuations, and she's not wrong. The Golden State Valkyries paid $50 million for their expansion slot, while existing teams are being valued at over $100 million each. There's a lot of real money flowing into the league now. So the real question isn't whether players deserve more. It's whether the percentage they're demanding is realistic, given that the WNBA, according to NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, has operated at a loss for most of its existence.
I think that for me personally, like the closer it gets to WNBA season, we're prepared to do it, to not play, but we don't want to. We want to play because we know how important it is to be on the court for a number of reasons, for the people, for the fans, for the city. But it'll be something that's really tough if push comes to shove, because, you know, like you said, you're comparing apples to oranges. The W and the NBA, like contracts are vastly different.
Very skewed, yeah.
So it's like, yeah, the top 10, maybe 15 players can survive without a W contract.
Right.
But the rest, it's like, no, you don't want to go that much without getting paid.
He strike authorization vote Stewart mentioned passed with overwhelming support from the players' union, but the story behind the scenes is more complicated. Sources indicate growing tension within the union. Not all players are on board with the hardline stance. Some veterans without unrivaled contracts or major endorsements are reportedly pushing to accept the current offer and move forward. They're looking at the calendar. It's already February, training camps are set to begin in April, and doing the math on their bank accounts. Many simply cannot afford to miss paychecks. Yet, those cautious voices aren't controlling the narrative. The union is dominated by stars who have the luxury to wait it out, creating a clear power imbalance within the organization. When Natasha Cloud calls accepting the deal stupid, she's speaking from a place of financial security most of her union colleagues don't share.
Doing a great job of making sure that we have like the amenities and the resources, and if we don't get what we want, we will sit out, but we don't want to do that.
So a few takeaways from what Breanna Stewart said. Number one, she said, we see how much y'all need us. Now, some people might strongly disagree with that. Are you really needed? Number two, she said, we don't want to be gypped. Now, I showed the numbers from the leaked proposal, reportedly leaked proposal last night. We've talked about numbers a number of times. I don't know how you can look at those numbers and feel that you're being gypped. And a lot of people feel the same way. Gypped? Interesting word for those numbers. Number three, she acknowledges that there are players who need.
Now, here's the part that should worry anyone who cares about women's basketball. Stewart claims they don't want to strike, but they will if they don't get what they want. Notice the phrasing: what they want, not what they need, not what's fair, but what they want. And the timing of a potential strike couldn't be worse. The WNBA just finished its most successful season in history. Caitlin Clark's rookie year pushed TV ratings up 48% compared to 2023. Nationally televised games averaged 1.2 to 2 million viewers, with some matchups exceeding 3 million. Attendance was up, merchandise sales exploded, and corporate sponsors who had long ignored women's basketball were suddenly fighting for partnerships. This was the breakthrough moment the WNBA had been building toward for 28 years. And now, the 2025 season could potentially be canceled. All that momentum, all that mainstream attention, all the casual fans who just started paying attention, they could vanish overnight. Because in professional sports, once you lose momentum, it's nearly impossible to get it back.
The money, and only maybe the top 10 or 15 are not in that category. She understands that. Number four, yes, they understand that, but they are still prepared to strike nonetheless. And they will. 5, if they don't get what they want, she said. So no, Breanna Stewart is not tone deaf. She is not lacking in understanding that this decision is a huge one that affects some people, most people, more than others. Others who own different leagues or who are playing in different leagues, who have money from endorsements, and what are the top players, they are not going to probably lose much sleep now over this decision if they choose not to play. Now, I say now because it would be a colossal mistake if they ruin this moment. And I think
Interview 6. Because most players need the money, only maybe the top 10 or 15 are in a position where they can afford not to play. Breanna Stewart understands that. Yes, she understands it. But here's the key. They are still prepared to strike if they don't get what they want. Make no mistake, Breanna Stewart is not tone deaf. She knows this decision affects some players much more than others, especially those without ownership stakes, endorsements, or alternative leagues to fall back on. The top players? They probably won't lose any sleep over this decision. But if they choose not to play, it could be a colossal mistake, potentially jeopardizing the WNBA's momentum. And history has a way of coming back to bite those who miscalculate. So, what do you think? Should the Stars strike to demand more, or take the deal to protect the league's momentum? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more breaking WNBA stories like this.
At some point, if they strike, say, what in the world are we doing? And then, of course, you've got the players who would be seriously impacted by it. And I feel sure that they're saying, look, it is February. We got to start making moves and doing things. This is more money than I've ever seen. Let's rock and roll. So she's not tone deaf. She understands it. But at the end of the day, although she sounds conflicted, I'll give her that. At the end of the day, she's still saying, if we don't get what we want, despite those for whom that would be devastating, we're still going to strike. We got to get what we want. So if you've been wondering if she's considered other people, well, the answer is yes. Now, if you've been wondering, does she care in the sense of letting that affect their decision? Well, according to her own words, no, not that much. They still want what they want. So they're not ignorant. They're just not willing to budge based on what she said. I'll catch